In 2024, we are seeing so much prophecy fulfilling before our eyes. When we look around the world and we see all of the things that are happening, we all come to the conclusion that study prophecy that things are escalating at a very, very fast rate. You know, in scripture, Jesus gave us, many things that would happen leading to his return. Some of the warnings he gave was that certain things would happen in the heavens or in the skies. As we look up, we're seeing so many different signs happening, and some of the significance that these events have in terms of biblical prophecy. And together, when we see these things correlating, we know that we're drawing very, very near. What I'll ask you to do is to watch this in full to get the full context, but also smash the like button so that someone who does not know Christ may come to the understanding of who Christ truly is.
Welcome back to Newsmaker Saturday. Thanks for being with us tonight. 26 years ago, the so-called Phoenix Lights captivated the nation. Chances are, when we say Phoenix Lights, you probably know what we're talking about. One of the biggest UFO sightings in the world.
On March 13th, 1997, while thousands of people were looking skyward purposely for a glimpse of the Hale-Bopp comet, they also caught a glimpse of either these V or delta or boomerang-shaped orbs.
One of those skeptics was Dr. Lynn Ketai.
I am a healthy skeptic, but I saw this up close and personal and captured 35mm photographs.
Ketai says there's even been news sightings. This is a CGI rendering of what one man recently saw flying over Prescott, a craft very similar to what people first reported seeing 17 years ago today.
Dr. Ketai expects this year to be bigger than ever thanks to a New York Times article documenting a military program to study UFOs, making the Phoenix Lights more important than ever.
The Phoenix Lights are validated as something that could be otherworldly.
You know, we were just talking about the Northern Lights that captured the attention of so many people across the tri-state area last night, and many eyes will return to the skies again tonight. Astronomers say if you're lucky, you got to be lucky, you might catch a comet that hasn't been seen in tens of thousands of years.
A treat tonight for stargazers. Many people were able to get a glimpse of the comet known as T-Atlas for short. A viewer sent us this photo of it over Staten Island, and another viewer sent us this photo.
This is footage of the comet known as C-2023A3 on September 19th from a NASA astronaut.
From a rare sight in the sky last night to a bright comet nearing its closest point to Earth on October 12th.
And this comet comes from way past the orbits of Neptune and Pluto. It comes from a place called the Oort cloud, which is like a sphere where there's a whole bunch of comets out in the outer ranges of our solar system. This is like 2,000 up to 100 times or 100,000 times as far as where the Earth is from the sun. So they're way out in the outer solar system. Very, very, very old objects coming into the inner solar system near the sun and Earth for a visit.
This Saturday, you can get a once-in-a-lifetime look at a bright comet. Astronomers say it should be visible to the naked eye and won't zoom across the sky, but instead linger for a bit.
It's these rare moments that, change your lives. This thing has spent, tens of thousands of years getting here.
Why is this so rare?
Because our solar system is pretty cleared out.
Jackie Faraday is with the American Museum of Natural History.
You just don't know if you're ever going to see one because they have to have the right conditions to get the right amount of sunlight and be the right distance away from us.
We are at the peak of the kind of activity that leads to the auroras, and we just ultimately got lucky. All you have to do is look west after sunset from about the 12th to the 20th of October, and you'll see what kind of looks like a fuzzy little ball. This one is probably the brightest of the 21st century that we've had a chance to see.
I've seen pictures of it, taken in other parts of the world already. It's beautiful. It's very, very nice. But the comet is like it hangs in the night sky. It's just like floating there.
2024 has been full of cosmic reasons to look up. We put on our protective glasses to view a total solar eclipse. We were captivated by the Northern Lights more than once.
And a comet. Now we have a comet. If I get to see the comet, it's just one more this year, before the year is out, for celestial events.
March 13th, 1997.
nearly 19 years ago.
While thousands of people were outside purposely looking at the sky for a glimpse of the Hale-Bopp comet, they also caught a glimpse of 1 mile to 2 mile wide in some very credible reports, either orbs, giant balls of light that seemed to be attached to something in a mile-wide V formation, or actual craft.
They were called the Phoenix Lights and quickly became one of the largest mass UFO sightings of all time.
There were many events, starting at 3 p.m. in the afternoon and continuing all the way until 5:30 the next morning.
I was in Tucson, standing by my swimming pool, and this large shape came over my head.
March 13th, 1997. These fully lit orbs caught on home video just above the Phoenix skyline. Thousands have claimed to see them in person, but there's still no answer for what they were.
One of the people I talked to about this was former Governor Fife Symington just a couple of years ago. He was a former Navy guy. He said, what I saw that night was definitely a craft. He said, and not of this world. He's saying, I don't know if it's something we're testing or what, but it was something that he had never, ever encountered before. He followed it.
I remember working weekends. I was anchoring Weekend Show, and the newsroom got inundated with phone calls, just inundated.
Insane.
And we're trying to cover this. We don't know what it is, but people are saying it was a spacecraft. It was we were visited.
Right.
When we thought everyone was just crazy, but then the more people you talked to, they said, no, I saw it with my own eyes.
As Symington said, it was not of this world, is how he put it, and that was kind of interesting.
Home video.
Woo! Look at them!
I got that one on video.
There's 4 of them. Look at there's 3 of them all together.
Home video in which you can clearly see the mysterious lights just hovering in the sky.
Major sighting here.
While at first a mystery, investigations attributed the lights in the sky to a combination of planes and military flares. But Kitai doesn't believe it.
You're trying to say that flares, military illumination flares that traverse the entire state in a rock-solid, mile-wide V equidistant formation for hours?
You can see the range back there.
19 years later, Kristen says he's still waiting for a logical explanation.
The video that I had, though, it's like I say, it's been around the world, and many people have seen it, and I thought by now somebody would have an answer to this thing, and nobody has come up with anything logical.
This is video of Air Force flares we shot a few years after the sightings.
Not one witness to the Phoenix Lights, or the true unknowns, described any of those characteristics.
It always pops up every once in a while. Just when you think it's gone, it comes back.
This was literally and figuratively right outside our bedroom window. We're pretty high on a mountain, and it was right outside our bedroom window, a little lower than us, were 3 amber orbs in a pyramid formation, 1 on top and 2 closely aligned underneath. And it was not only mesmerizing, but it was mind-boggling, because what was that? And I tried to take everything in mentally, because you don't know how long it's going to last. The size, the shape, the color, they were about 3 to 6 feet each, depending on how close they were. They were oval shaped, which is interesting now that the Nimitz Navy pilots have come forward with the Tic Tac videos, and they talk about oval shaped UFOs. And there was an amber color throughout, and I call them an orb because the light did not extend outside the edge. It was self-contained. And as we both stood there in awe, the top orb started to shrink very, very slowly, mechanically, as if there was an intelligence behind it. Councilwoman Frances Barwood, who was the only elected official who came forward to ask for a reenactment, which happened 3 years after the mass sighting. 3 Air National Guards tried to reenact the Phoenix Lights and failed. And also we have this one wonderful doctor who also, an MD, who also stayed anonymous for 21 years.
Yeah, the first time that we're going to hear from him about his experience.
Absolutely. He was with his family coming up from Tucson to Phoenix, and it was right over their car for some time. And the amazing thing too is that the DOD just came forward in December. A New York Times article divulged that Harry Reid actually requested a study. They are studying it now at the Pentagon, and it was funded $22 million. And just like myself, I mean, they don't know what these things were, but they know that they are, and they're far advanced from what we have.
But it wasn't on radar, right?
It was not on radar.
That's what they say.
Exactly, and they got worried because this was over the tarmac, and one of them was a meteorologist, and told me that the entire thing, these 6 points of light that seemed to be attached to something, but they couldn't quite see what these lights were attached to, which you would hear again by thousands of people 2 months later. actually turned as a unit against the wind, elevated slowly, and then moved in synchrony behind South Mountain. So I said, so what was it? And there was silence. And then one of them said, beats me. I said, you're air traffic controllers. You're supposed to know what's in our airspace. They ruled out, and this is telling, every conventional aircraft, balloons, Chinese lanterns, flares, even skydivers with lights. We stayed in contact up until and including March 13th, when thousands of people, for anybody that doesn't know about the mass sighting out there, were outside purposely looking up at the sky for a glimpse of the Hale-Bopp comet, when they also caught a glimpse of 1 to 8 mile wide, according to Peter Davenport from the UFO Reporting Center in Seattle, Washington, National UFO Reporting Center. 8 miles wide, either these orbs that seem to be attached to something or actual craft. And that's where the mis and disinformation comes in, because it wasn't just 1 or 2 events. It was many.
The government said they were flares, but witnesses described them as a triangular-shaped series of lights moving from north to south, right over the valley.
Whoever did this not only wanted to be seen, but wanted to wake us up that we may not be alone in the universe.
It's just kept people talking and curious for years.
I was just a kid when this happened, and it was like I was obsessed with it. I wanted to read every single news article about it. I was convinced this was like the invasion was days away.
That it was going to happen, huh?
Yeah, man, this is so cool.
The first announcement from then Governor Fife Symington back in 1997, he was actually poking fun at the sighting, saying he found who was responsible and asked the accused alien, as you see here, to join him up at the podium. Later, though, we learned Symington actually witnessed the Phoenix Lights himself and later changed his tune, calling the sighting otherworldly and something bigger than anything he had ever seen here. A lot of people, I was at the airport that night picking up a friend, and a lot of people were getting off the plane saying, you won't believe what we just saw up there. So it was a really interesting time.
I just wonder if they can travel several light years, why they would need to have lights on their ship. You know?
Probably true.
Yeah.
I don't care if there's 2 or 270. They're showing up for a reason. I want to know, why are they showing up now?